afternoon, class. I'm here to argue that stricter gun control laws will not make a significant change to how things currently are. Recent shootings and crimes have invoked the people to find solutions to stop the next slaughter. The first thing that comes into people's minds is to increase gun control and to have tighter regulations on assault weapons. But this, my fellow classmates, is not the solution. First, let me explain the workability issues of increased gun control. One of the main reasons for advocating more gun control is for the supposed decrease in gun violence. People automatically assume that by increasing gun control, it would lead to less gun violence, but unfortunately, this is just a logical fallacy. An example of this is California. California is where we currently have one of the strictest gun control laws in place. And it consists of a system of a written firearm safety test and multiple rigorous background checks before being given a certificate allowing the obtainment of a firearm. According to data gathered from the CDC, California ranks first in gun-related deaths despite having one of the tightest control on guns. This is due to the truth that gun control laws do not have any effect on reducing violence. It is known that the majority of gun crimes are linked to gang violence. And as stated from the National Gang Center.gov, that in major cities such as Chicago and Los Angeles, around half of all homicides are gang-related. The proposed solution of implementing stricter gun laws is wrong, because there is an alternate causality to the problem. The problem we have is not the ease of accessibility to guns, but the people who willingly commit the crime. The simple reality is that criminals do not obey the law. Therefore, increased gun control will not affect gun-related crimes. This irrationality about increased gun control is best explained with a quote from the article, "Gun control isn't crime control." And I quote, "Strict gun control only affect the actions of people who wouldn't commit crimes in the first place. It is illogical to implement laws with the intent of targeting criminals, since ultimately, criminals do not comply with the law." Another reason why increased gun control laws will not have an effect is because of the problem of loopholes within the law. And as the saying goes, where there's a will, there's a way. And it shows in how criminals are able to obtain the weapons they use. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics May 2013 report, it states that 37.4% of state prison inmates who use, carry, or possess a firearm obtain the gun from a family member or friend. What this highlights is the incapability of gun control laws to regulate guns that are already in circulation. In a published study titled Firearm Violence, 1993 to 2011, Michael Planty and Jennifer Truman stated that in 2004, among state prison inmates who possessed a gun at the time of offense, less than 2% bought their firearm at a flea market or a gun show, and 40% obtained their firearm through an illegal source. Gun control laws are ineffective at preventing criminals from obtaining weapons, because besides legal sellers, criminals are able to obtain firearms through private sellers, black market, or simply from a family member or friend. The unregulated sale of firearms from unlicensed dealers is a major problem that is left unanswered by increased gun control. The only result that we get from increasing gun control is a disadvantage it places on U.S. citizens. By implementing stricter laws, it only makes it more difficult for law-abiding citizens to be able to purchase a firearm. 61% of men and 56% of women surveyed by Pew Research said that stricter gun laws would make it more difficult for people to protect their homes and families. It is undeniable that owning a gun provides people with a sense of safety against criminals. As best described by John Stossel, he states, "Without fear of retaliation from victims who might be packing heat, aka a concealed gun, criminals in possession of these weapons now have a much easier job of executing their malicious intent." The perfect example of this is when Senator Dianne Feinstein, who is a gun control advocate, carried a concealed gun when her life felt threatened and her home attacked by the New World Liberation in the 1970s. It is morally wrong to render U.S. citizens defenseless against criminals. How can you deny law-abiding citizens the feeling of safety? Studies and research from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention have concluded that in states where 50% of households own firearms, these states also have the lowest homicide rates. In addition, in the research done by John R. Lott, he concluded that states with the largest increases in gun ownership also had the largest drop in violent crimes. Here, we can see that gun ownership deters crime. If we want to decrease gun violence, the answer is not preventing good people access to guns. As you can see, increased gun control will not have any impact on how the current situation stands. Increased gun control is targeting the wrong people. It will not fix the problem of gun violence and only leaves law-abiding citizens in a disadvantage.